I remember the first time I asked myself this question out loud. Where in the world can I just exist? Not survive, not pass, not explain myself over and over again. Just exist. As me, a trans woman with hopes, with flaws, with favorite songs, and half-finished journals. I wasn't looking for perfection. I was looking for a sidewalk I could walk down without fear. A place where being trans wasn't a secret, a spectacle, or a reason to shrink myself. Hi again. Or hi for the first time. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Zara, and this is Becoming Herself, your transition guide, where we talk about everything from hormones to housing, chosen families to chosen cities. This channel isn't about telling you how to transition the right way. It's about giving you the tools, the stories, and the space to become yourself, whatever that looks like. And today we're doing something a little bit different. Instead of focusing inward, we're looking outward to the world around us. Because sometimes transition isn't just about what changes within us. It's about finding a place that reflects, respects, and protects who we are. So whether you're dreaming of cobblestone streets in Europe, queer-friendly corners of Asia, or somewhere closer to home, let's explore what it really means to find a city that fits you. We didn't just throw darts at a map. This list is built on research from esmil.com, a queer-owned company specializing in FTM prosthetics, which collaborated with the Global Trans Rights Index 2023 and the Movement Advancement Project, MAP. They evaluated over 100 cities worldwide based on these criteria: legal gender recognition, access to trans health care, safety and hate crime rates, public visibility of trans lives, cultural support and lived community experience. And what we found wasn't just numbers, it was possibility. Cities where trans folks are not just protected by law, but held in culture. Let's travel, not just by distance, but by imagination. 10. Paris, France. Paris is complicated like many of us. While France only recently removed sterilization as a requirement for gender marker change, 2016, Paris has rapidly grown into a city of both visibility and softness, with over 30 queer venues, active trans-led collectives like Acceptus T, and a renewed focus on intersectionality and pride in policy. Paris offers a space to be both loud and vulnerable. Paris doesn't ask you to shrink, it asks you to show up. Messy, loud, layered. 9. Tokyo, Japan. Japan hasn't legalized same-sex marriage yet, and its gender identity law still requires surgery and court approval. So why is Tokyo on this list? Because cities and countries are not the same. Tokyo's Shinjuku Nichome is the heart of queer nightlife in East Asia, home to over 40 LGBTQ plus spaces, including trans run bars and drag venues. And despite legal hurdles, Japan has one of the lowest anti-LGBTQ violence rates in the region. In Tokyo, queerness is quiet but steady, and it finds ways to survive, even bloom. Number 8. Toronto, Canada. Toronto is a mosaic, not a melting pot, with publicly funded trans healthcare, gender-neutral ID option, and legal protections enshrined in the Ontario Human Rights Code. Toronto remains a top contender on the Global Trans Rights Index. It's also deeply community-driven, from the 519 Community Center to BIPOC, trans-led initiatives. This is a place where chosen families are not just imagined, they're built. Toronto isn't perfect, but it tries and it listens. That alone makes it rare. 7. Reykjavik, Iceland, tiny in size, towering in policy. Since 2019, Iceland has recognized self-determined gender without requiring diagnosis or surgery. The healthcare system includes hormone therapy under universal care, and Trans-Ireland, the national advocacy group, has real political access. Plus, Reykjavik Pride draws over a third of the country's population. In Iceland, queerness isn't urban. It's volcanic, raw, natural as floor 6. Barcelona, Spain. Spain passed its new self-ID law in 2023, allowing legal gender change from age 16 plus without medical requirements. Barcelona in particular is the spiritual heart of queer Spain. Colourful, chaotic, loud, in the best way. With over 30 queer venues and iconic events like Circuit Festival and Pride Barcelona, it's more than a party. It's protest, wrapped in glitter. And just 30 minutes away, Sitges, a Mediterranean queer dream. Barcelona doesn't just welcome you, it flirts with you. Taipei, Taiwan. Taiwan became the first country in Asia to legalize same-sex marriage in 2019. For years, Taipei stood as a lone lighthouse in the region, but it kept shining. Gender-affirming care is accessible, especially at hospitals like NTUH and through groups like TAB-CPR. There's a growing number of trans-inclusive clinics, trans, masculine and non-binary advocacy, and the largest pride in East Asia. Taipei doesn't try to impress you, it simply makes space for you. And while Thailand recently became the second country in Asia to legalize same-sex marriage, June 2024, Taipei still leads in trans-specific rights, especially in healthcare and ID laws. Versus Amsterdam, Netherlands. The Netherlands was the first country to legalize same-sex marriage, 2001, and Amsterdam continues to evolve. Legal gender change no longer requires surgery, and conversion therapy is banned nationwide. Amsterdam's trans scene includes advocacy hubs like Transvisie, health clinics, and inclusive education policies. But perhaps what matters most? The normalcy. You can walk hand in hand, transition at work, introduce your pronouns, and no one blinks. Amsterdam doesn't perform allyship, it breathes it. 3. New York City, USA. The only American city on this list, and it earns its place. New York City has a Gender Recognition Act, 2022, accessible HRT clinics, trans housing shelters, and youth support centers. It also has history. Stonewall, Ballroom, Sylvia, Marsha, the soul of trans resistance. But this isn't just nostalgia. New York City's trans leadership, from mutual aid groups to local politics, is alive and thriving. New York doesn't care how you got here. It cares what you'll build next. 2. Copenhagen, Denmark. Copenhagen may not be loud, but it is thorough. Denmark ranks at the top of trans rights Europe, with self-ID, legal third gender options, free transition care, and strong anti-discrimination laws. What makes it special isn't the law books. It's the culture. Here nobody stares. Nobody asks. You're not interesting. You're just you. Copenhagen doesn't celebrate you for being trans. It simply lets you live. Number 1. Lisbon, Portugal. Portugal offers self-ID since 2018, bans conversion therapy, provides trans-inclusive public health care, all with one of the lowest anti-trans violence rates in Europe. It's affordable, sun-drenched, and slowly becoming a haven for queer expats. Not because it shouts progress, but because it quietly means it. Lisbon doesn't dazzle, it shelters, and sometimes that's what healing needs. These cities aren't perfect, but they offer something rare. The possibility to wake up and not fear being who you are, to walk down a street and feel ordinary, free, whole. But what if your place isn't here yet? That's okay, because next we'll talk about how to choose your city, even if it hasn't chosen you back yet. I want to share a story, not from a headline, but from two women I follow and admire, Alexis and Lillian. They're a queer couple who have lived in Copenhagen, Berlin, Toronto, and most recently, Amsterdam. And if you're like me, someone who's always wondering, where should I go? You'll want to hear this. They started with a list, not of landmarks, but of feelings. They asked, where did we feel seen? Where did we walk at night and breathe easier? Where could we be queer without performance? So they made a spreadsheet. Seriously, they ranked cities based on things like access to trans, healthcare, safety in public spaces, cost of living, nightlife or quiet life, visa options, job prospects, community presence, language barriers. And guess which city got the highest score? Berlin. But guess what? They'd already lived there. They wanted something new, something softer, something less familiar. So they looked again. Toronto was next. They tried it. It didn't feel right anymore. And then someone messaged Alexis on Instagram. You ranked Amsterdam too low. I think you'd like it more than you think. So they reevaluated. And just like that, a city that once scored a 5 became a 7. And they moved. Here's what I love about that. They didn't just follow a map. They followed themselves, their values, their needs, and yes, even their surprises. The perfect city isn't the one with the most rainbow flags. It's the one where you forget you ever had to hide. And here's something else. Alexis mentioned she used to fear starting over. New city, new friends, new coffee orders, new pharmacies, new names. But each time, the fear shrank, and she grew. So what about you? If you're wondering where to go next, start with this. What makes you feel grounded? Do you need green space? Or late-night queer poetry readings? Do you need proximity to your family? Or distance from your past? Do you want healthcare, nightlife, dating, activism, or just silence? Make your list. Rate it honestly. Talk to queer people who live there. Join forums, Facebook groups, Reddit threads. Ask real questions. How's dating there? Is it safe to transition at work? Do people respect pronouns in public? What's housing like for someone who's visibly queer? Because maps won't tell you what community feels like, but people will. There's no universal queer paradise, but there's a place, or a version of a place, where you can build your own rhythm, where your name doesn't echo awkwardly and your reflection feels right. In the next part, I'll share the exact system I use and that you can use to score your dream city. Not to chase perfection, but to find enough. Enough safety, enough beauty, enough space to grow. Let's be honest, even the most trans-inclusive city doesn't mean much if you can't afford to live there. In 2023, the average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in the US was around $1,900 per month. That's a lot, especially if you're transitioning between jobs or just trying to rebuild your life. But here's the good news. The team at Queer Money created a list of the top 10 most affordable, trans-friendly cities in the US. They cross-checked rent prices, income levels, HRC's Municipal Equality Index, and data from MAP's Gender Identity Policy Score. And what they found is something I wish I'd known sooner. You don't need a big city budget to find big queer joy. Here are a few cities from their list, with rent under $1,000 and rights that protect you. Rochester, New York. Cost of living equals 79% of the national average. Gender policy score equals highest in the state. Ranked number 1 overall in affordability plus protections. What makes Rochester special isn't just its price tag. It's the healthcare access, trans-led orgs, and sense of small city care. If NYC is the loud older sister, Rochester is the chill, emotionally available cousin who helps you move and bakes you muffins. Syracuse and Buffalo, New York. Also in New York State, these cities scored perfect 100s on the Municipal Equality Index. They have public clinics that offer HRT, decent tenant rights, and a growing queer youth community. New York State is quietly becoming one of the best places to be trans, even outside of NYC. Baltimore, Maryland rents are a bit higher, around $1,595 per month, but Maryland is one of the most legally protective states per Erin in the morning. Baltimore has gender-affirming care programs, queer co-ops, and a vibe that's gritty, creative, and grounded. If you want East Coast energy without Manhattan prices, Baltimore might be your place. Champaign and Rockford, Illinois has expanded gender marker options and bans discrimination in healthcare, housing, and employment. Rents here are under $950 a month, and Rockford even has some of the lowest home prices in the nation. Perfect if you want a slower pace, community roots, and cornfield sunsets, which are surprisingly healing. Duluth, Minnesota, yeah, it's cold, but it's warm in spirit. Minnesota consistently ranks high on MAP's gender identity policy score, and Duluth has strong local protections. Rent is low, trans orgs are present, and the view of Lake Superior? Gorgeous. Milwaukee and Racine, Wisconsin. These cities may not seem like queer havens at first glance, but they're affordable, legally safe, and home to growing queer events. Milwaukee in particular has been named one of the best climate-ready cities for LGBTQ plus folks. Sometimes the best city isn't where the queer bars are. It's where you can build the kind of life where you don't need to escape. You don't have to live in New York or LA to find love, care, or chosen family. You just need a place where your name is yours, your rent is doable, and your gender isn't a liability. So if you're starting over, or just starting out, don't overlook these quiet, practical cities. They may not be flashy, but they'll hold you. And maybe that's enough. Maybe you watched this list and thought, none of these are for me. That's okay. Because the real question isn't, where's the best place to be trans? It's, where's the best place for me, as a trans person, to begin again? So let's build that place, together. And no, I don't mean moving trucks just yet. I mean, let's build a system that helps you find where your version of safety and belonging lives. Here's the city score system I've used, and that you can steal, tweak, queer, or throw glitter on. Step 1. Make a short list. Write down 5 to 10 cities you're curious about. Anywhere. Big, small, famous, or forgotten. Don't overthink it. Use lists like the ones from this video. Places where your friends live. Cities from queer travel blogs. Even a vibe you got from TikTok. This isn't about perfection. It's about possibility. Step 2. Pick your categories. This is where it gets personal. Here are the categories I use. Feel free to add your own. Legal protections, anti-discrimination laws, gender marker changes, healthcare access, cost of living, rent, food, public transit, trans healthcare, HRT clinics, informed consent, mental health support, community, LGBTQ plus centers, events, meetups, mutual aid safety, crime rates, hate speech, street level comfort, culture fit nightlife, bookstores, quiet mornings, language and bureaucracy. How hard is it to get things done? Visa residency for those outside the country climate. Do you need seasons? Some sun? Not hating winter? Vibe check. Emotional resonance. That gut feeling. Add weight to categories that matter more to you. If safety is everything, double the points for it. If you're burnt out and just want a soft place to land, let vibe score triple. Step 3, rate from 1 to 10. Go city by city. Be honest. If you don't know something, research it. Check. HRC's Municipal Equality Index for US cities. Maps Trans Policy. Scorecards Global Trans Rights Index Reddit. Ask Transgender. Expats. Queer Facebook groups. LGBT expats in Berlin. Trans folks in Lisbon, etc. YouTube vlogs from actual trans folks living there. Ask, could I walk down the street in this city and breathe like I belong? Step 4. Add it up, but don't stop there. You'll end up with a list of cities and their total scores. But here's the trick. Don't let the numbers make the decision for you. Sometimes the city with the best score isn't the one your heart wants. That's valid. That's real. Maybe it's about where your friends are, or where you fell in love once, or where no one knows your dead name. Data gives you a map, but only you know where it leads. If you can afford it, visit for a week. Notice how you feel in your body walking through that place. Do you shrink or expand? Talk to locals. Ask weird questions. Go to a queer cafe. Try ordering coffee with your name and pronouns. See what happens. Sometimes one moment in a laundromat tells you more than any legal policy. I don't know where your next city is, but I know this. You deserve more than survival. You deserve sidewalks that don't make you flinch. Pharmacies that say your name right. Sunlight that doesn't feel like it's borrowed. So take the time. Make the list. Ask the questions. And when you're ready, begin. Where we live changes us. It shapes the way we walk, how we dress, who we trust, and sometimes how much of ourselves we're allowed to bring to breakfast. This video wasn't made to tell you where to go. It was made to remind you that you can choose, that you're not stuck, that you're allowed to ask for more. More safety, more softness, more space to try again without apology. If one of the cities in today's video spoke to you, tell me in the comments. If you're making your own shortlist, I'd love to hear what's on it. And if you're already living in a place where you feel seen, share that story. You never know who you're helping feel less alone. Subscribe if you want more videos like this, where we talk about real life, real queer things. Like this video if it gave you clarity or courage. And share it with someone who's thinking of starting over. This was episode 3 of Becoming Herself. I'm Zara, and wherever you are right now, you're not behind. You're just beginning.